recently. We've already got a couple in the log, unfortunately. Alan in Minnesota City, Minnesota, KF0GTF, and Steve in Oregon, Ohio, KC8IDM. Does anybody else have a call sign, a silent key that they'd like to recognize? Please come now with your call sign. All right, nothing heard. I'll make a final call for Alan and Steve. KF0GTF, KF0GTF, and Steve, KC8IDM, KC8IDM. This is W2ECR calling. This is your net control station, KE7K. Next up in the order of operations is Joe with our celebrity call sign of the week. Go ahead, Joe.
Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. This truly does go around the world. What's the must-have feature when buying a radio? Well, I guess almost all of them are digital these days, but I'd have to say memories. So it's easy to recall all the parameters, whether there's plus or minus offset on the repeater, what the PL tone is and all that. So memories, I guess I would have to say. But as with many of these celebrity call signs of the week, this was from the English language Wikipedia and is therefore subject to the Creative Commons Attribution Share-alike 4.0 license. Our celebrity was born in Enid, Oklahoma on November 22nd, 1930. He was a Boy Scout, earning the rank of Star Scout, and graduated from Enid High School in 1948, where he served as senior class president and was voted most likely to succeed. Well, as we will find out, succeed he did. He received a Bachelor of Science degree in Electrical Engineering from the University of Oklahoma in 1953. He was also the elected president of the senior class. He later earned a Master of Science and PhD degrees from Stanford University in Electrical Engineering in 1957 and 1960, respectively. Owen served as electronics officer in the United States Navy from 1953 to 1956. From 1961 through 1965, he was an assistant professor and associate professor of electrical engineering at Stanford University. He performed research and led graduate studies in ionospheric physics after obtaining his doctorate, and authored or co-authored more than 45 scientific papers, chapters, and one book, principally in the areas of the physical sciences. So I don't time these out. I'm going to drop a second. In 1965, Owen was one of the 6 scientist astronauts selected by NASA. His first space flight, the Skylab 3 mission in 1973, set a world record at the time for duration, approximately 60 days, which was more than double the previous record. Extensive experiments were conducted of the sun, of Earth resources, and various life sciences related to human adaptation to weightlessness. His second space flight was aboard STS-9, otherwise known as Spacelab 1, in 1983, a multidisciplinary and mission of 10 days aboard Space Shuttle Columbia. Over 70 separate experiments in 6 different disciplines were conducted, primarily to demonstrate the suitability of Spacelab for research in all these areas. Our celebrity, Owen Garriott, was also an extra-class amateur radio operator holding call sign Whiskey 5 Lima Foxtrot Lima, or W5LFL. He operated the world's first amateur radio station in space and, on December 1st, 1983, made the first amateur radio contact from space using a Motorola handheld 2-meter radio while on board the STS-9 Space Shuttle Columbia mission. And, of course, I chose Owen here, an astronaut from the many that are actually amateur radio operators, because of the 56th anniversary of the Apollo 11 mission. If I read the history correct, the Aldrin, Collins, and Armstrong were orbiting the moon about now 56 years ago, and we're just about ready to head back to Earth. Sadly, on April 15th, 2019, Mr. Garriott became a silent key at his home in Huntsville, Alabama, at the age of 88. Kilo Delta 2 Tango Fox Bravo, back to net control.
All right, thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate the time you put into putting those together each week. Always enjoyable. All right, next up is users new to the TechNet. You may have checked into another net before or just been on the Reflector in general, and that doesn't count toward this new category. If you have never been on the TechNet before and you'd like to get in at the front, please come down with your call sign.
Romeo 4, Echo Papa Mike, back to net.
Hold on just a second, Robert. All right, good evening, Robert, or Rob, if you like to go by that. Let us know in Madison, Alabama, KR4EPM. Looks like you're new to the Reflector as a whole, so welcome. Please introduce yourself and answer tonight's question if you like. What's a must-have feature when buying a new radio?
Yeah, I'm new at the game.
We're happy to have you, Robert. Would you like to answer tonight's question?
Yes. Romeo 4, Echo Papa Mike, back to net.
Very good, Robert. Thank you for checking in. Still open for any users new to the TechNet. Please come down with your call sign. All right, the station trying to access the Cortland, New York repeater. Lots of noise on your signal. If you have some more power, we can give that a try. Otherwise, make sure if you're on an HT, make sure you're holding it straight up and down. Make the best use of that vertical polarization as you can, and try to give it another shot. Station in Cortland, New York. Come again.
Whiskey Alpha 2, Sierra Uniform Mike, WA2 SUM.
Yeah, very good, Ronald. I don't know what you changed, but you were much better copy that time. WA2SUM, welcome to the TechNet. What's a must-have feature when buying a radio? Ronald, are you still with us? WA2SUM. All right, nothing heard from Ronald. The TechNet is again open for any users new to this net. Please come down with your call sign.
This is Kilo Echo 8, Alpha Victor Oscar.
And good evening, Kenneth. You're coming up in red, so that indicates to me you've already checked into this net before. So if you don't mind waiting for the 8s during general check-ins, we would appreciate it. The net is still open for anybody new to this net. Please come down.
Kilo, Queen, 4, Kilo, X-ray, Victor. Kilo, Echo, 2, November, Kilo.
Delta Bravo Zulu.
So Echo 2, Charlie, Kilo, in and out.
And we picked up 3 new stations there, KQ4KXZ, KE2NK, and K4DBZ. We'll start with Johnny in St. Cloud, Florida. Johnny, welcome to the Reflector. Looks like you're new altogether. KQ4KXZ, that's a tongue twister. What's a must-have feature when buying a radio?
Not really sure. I just kind of got into the hobby, and my latest radio is a Yaesu. I can't quite get the model number off of it right now since I'm on my way to the airport.
Very good, Johnny. Well, thank you for checking in. And yeah, I guess this is sort of a tough question for new users. I guess at this point, just having a radio is the best feature you can have. So, mobile safe and fly safe if you're headed out somewhere. We'll move on to Joseph, KE2NK.
KE2NK here. Good evening, everyone. To me, something that's important, especially in portable equipment, is good battery life on the equipment. Long-lasting batteries.
Yeah, that's certainly a good one, Joseph. Thank you for checking in. Last on the list, David in Wake Forest, North Carolina. David, looks like you're new to the Reflector and have an email address on QRZ, so we'll be sending you a welcome letter later this evening or first thing in the morning. K4DBZ. Good evening, David.
Good evening, and thanks. I was just in the car doing some packing for a trip and heard this net and thought I'd give it a call. That feature on a radio for me has got to be packet support, either built in or, the special input that can deal with the 9K6 baud stuff.
All right, got you down for ability to do packet. Thanks for checking in, David. This is Kevin, KE, your net control station at the moment for tonight's East Coast Reflector Tech Net. We are open for users new to this net. Please come now with your call sign.
I missed who you're taking check-ins from at the moment, but this is Ken, N6KE, and I am a /HK here in Tulsa, Columbia.
From Lincoln, Nebraska.
All right, we had a double there. I'll take Michael, who is new to the net. Ken, you'll have to stick around for the 6th call district during general check-ins. Good evening, Michael. AF0 Delta Nancy. What's a must-have feature when buying a radio?
Well, let's see. I kind of tuned in a little late. Might be kidding here. Okay, we're talking an HP. The must-have. It was an HP. I think the first thing I went and got was an extended life battery myself. My very first spouse, the first VHF UHF. Now, the must-have, including, of course, the diagnostic equipment such as an SWL meter. Must-have. I'm going to go with an antenna tuner, because not everything comes with a decent antenna tuner or an antenna tuner at all. There's so much to choose. I'll leave it at that. AM0DS.
I got you down for a tuner, Michael. I think that's a good one. Obviously, some HF rigs have them built in, but good to know you've got a good match, so you're not burning something up. Thanks for checking in. The net's still open for any new users. Please come down with your call sign. All right, let me grab it there. VK3AG, I see you keying up the Echo Link bridge, but your audio is nearly non-existent. I'll give you a minute to try to diagnose that. There was another station. All we got was the very tail of your transmission coming in from Orlando, Florida. Could you try it again, please? All right, nothing heard. If you're a new user and you'd like to check into the TechNet this evening, please come now. KR4, Kilo Juliet 5, Lima Papa Kilo Romeo 4, and Andrew Foxtrot Lima Delta. Zulu. All right, let's see what we got here. VK3AG, you're a little bit louder, but you're still very, very, very low. I feel like I've talked to you before, heard you on the reflector. I know you've got the audio for it, so we'll let you keep monkeying with that a little bit. Was there a Lima Papa Romeo station? Lima Papa Romeo?
There was a KJ5 Lima Papa Kilo, if that's the one you're looking for. Andrew in Houston.
Yeah, that's the one, Andrew. KJ5 LPK, got you on the log. Stand by just for a second. There was one more station, Foxtrot Lima Delta, KR4 something. Could you come back with your full call, please?
Kilo Romeo 4, Foxtrot Lima Zulu.
All right, KR4FLZ, welcome to the net. We'll lead off with you. We're not able to pull any information from QRZ from you, so you must have just been issued that call sign. Congratulations on that, and welcome to the TechNet, and welcome to the East Coast Reflector. Feel free to answer tonight's question. What's a must-have feature when buying a new radio?
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I just got my my ham license today. It was just issued this morning. I've been on the GMRS band for a little bit, for a few months. I joined a couple nets there, but yeah, I'm new to the ham stuff. A must-have, yeah, I would say like a good portable radio. You know, I have a mobile in my car and a base station, but yeah, I always have a good portable radio, you know, nearby in the car, you know, just in case you know, I need to communicate with the radio in the car.
Very good. Well, congratulations on your license, and sounds like you're already decked out with equipment. That's good, and good on you for getting on the air as soon as you got legal. Thanks for checking in, and hope to hear you on the Reflector again. All right, Terry, let's give another shot. VK3AG. Actually, looks like he dropped off the Echo Link conference. I'll keep an eye on that and see if he pops back up. But in the meantime, we'll move on to Andrew in Harper, Texas. KJ5LPK. Good evening, Andrew. Introduce yourself and answer tonight's question. What's a must-have feature when buying a radio?
Yeah, so for me, a must-have feature is definitely a volume knob. I don't like to have to hit buttons in order to change the volume. And yeah, my name is Andrew, from a small town outside of San Antonio, and just got my general this week, so excited about that and moving on to HF stuff.
Well, thanks for checking in, Andrew, and congratulations on your upgrade there. I'll make a final call for any users new to the TechNet. Please come now.
Kilo Echo 8, Whiskey Oscar Juliet. Kilo Echo 8, Whiskey Oscar Juliet.
November 8, Zulu Foxtrot Hotel. Victor Echo 3, Foxtrot Indy Oscar, it's VE3FIO. All right, Gary and Thomas, we got you N8ZFH and VE3FIO. Rick, we'll have to ask you to stand by for the 8th. Looks like you have checked in before. Gary is first up in Woodhaven, Michigan, N8ZFH. Good evening, Gary. Right now I'm in Wyandotte, and I'm impressed that I can hit the repeater with an HT. So I guess the feature I'm looking for, I haven't been able to find one, but I'd like to see something that could Bluetooth into an HF rig for keyboard send. Please check me in and out. I'll continue to listen. NHSH, back to net. Well, Gary, not only are you hitting it, you're sounding just fine, full quieting, maybe a little bit of road noise, but if you're in an HT inside the car, you're doing just fine. Thanks for checking in. Thomas, CE3FIO. Good evening to everyone on the net. I think this is my first time on the TechNet, so your question for tonight, feature. Well, when I was scoping out my first radio about 2 years ago, didn't know what brand I would go with. Finally decided on the Yaesu. The things that I was looking for is basically quick access to certain menu items on the screen. And like a previous person mentioned about knobs, yeah, I'm a little bit cool. I do like to have like an audio knob, you know, the AF gain and the RF gain, all of them knobs. Just, I guess, I just prefer them. And I think for HTs, just a good HT that does the analog and has great audio. So, back to you. CE3, FIO. Thanks for checking in, Thomas. And I see Terry back on the Echo Link Bridge. Terry, VK3AG, can we hear you now? Nothing heard. This is KE7K. My name is Kevin. I'm your net control station for the first portion of tonight's East Coast Reflector TechNet. We worked our way through the new users, and now we're up to the question portion of the net. If you have an amateur radio-related technical question, please come now with your call sign.
Whiskey Bravo 8, Oscar Delta Foxtrot, WB8 ODF.
Whiskey 4 Foxtrot Whiskey November, W4F WN.
And I recognize Dave, WB8ODF, and Dan, W4FWN. There was one more station in Huntsville, Alabama. If you had a question, please come now with your call sign.
KSOAY, November 8, Oscar Alpha Yankee, with a follow-up on my question for last week.
All right, got you that time, Dave. N80AY. Little light on audio. If you can bring it up when we come back to you, that might help everybody. First up is Dave, WB8ODF. Good evening, Dave. Haven't talked to you in a while.
ULC, Lakewood, Florida.
Sorry, my VCon went wild on me here. Answer to the question, I want my new radio to A, work, and B, it has to come in bubble wrap. If it doesn't come in bubble wrap that I can pop, I'm sending it back. My question tonight is, did anyone else experience this? I have heard everybody, since you started, till right now, except Joe. As soon as you turned it over to Joe for the Celebrity of the Week. I heard nothing from him. Anybody experienced this?
Well, thanks for bringing it to our attention, Dave. I'm on All-Star, and I heard him. Looks like you're on IRLP. Let me throw it out to the IRLP side of things. Is there any IRLP stations, and only IRLP stations, hear the audio for the Celebrity Call Sign of the Week? All right, nothing heard. Dave, we'll keep an eye on it. That's the only thing I can think of. Maybe I'll pull the archive and see if it's on there. I'm 95% sure it is, but anything else we can help you with?
No, please look into that on the archives if you would. I should have mentioned that right now I am on a All-Star to IRLP bridge. But again, it was everybody but Joe. All right. Thanks, Kevin, and thanks for doing the net. Well, you're going to check me in anyway. So have a good night, everybody. WDF.
Well, again, Dave, thanks for the heads up. We'll try to figure out what's going on there. Sometimes there's a little audio weirdness going over to the IRLP side, but we'll take a look. Dan, W4FWN, what do you got for us tonight, Dan?
Well, good evening, everyone on the net. This is W4FWN. First of all, let me answer your question. In HF, I look for an antenna tuner, because you never can tell what you're going to run into in antennas. And on UHF, VHF, I guess CTCSS search, where you can key it up, you can key it up, program that frequency in, and if it's on a repeater, it'll come back and find the CTCSS tones. That's helpful. My question for tonight is on running a coax through a single hung window, through the bottom of it. What can you use to seal that? What can I use on a temporary basis to seal that from the weather? If that's a good enough question. Back to net control, this is W4FWN.
KC6USM. Yeah, copy you, Charles. First thing that comes to my mind, Dan, is a pool noodle. Put a slit in it all the way in, or all the way from end to end, and maybe a hole from side to side for your coax, and close the window on that. But let's see what Charles has to say. KC6UFM, good evening, Charles.
Good evening, Kevin, and everyone on the net tonight. The Braves, the Cardinals, and the Padres aren't looking too bad, but the Rockies are closing in on playing .250 baseball. But anyway, Dave, as Kevin suggested, pool noodle will work. I've used that in the past. The best solution is to either buy or make a metal feed-through plate. They're very easy to make if you've got some basic hand tools, drill and some files and things like that. Super easy to make if you have an actual little machine shop, and you just drill some holes in that, put a barrel-type coax connector in it, and screw on to the outside, screw on to the inside, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. But you said you're looking for something temporary, and what I have used in the past is just a piece of foam rubber, maybe an inch or so thick, and cut that a couple of inches high. You can poke a hole through it and kind of wiggle the coax through that hole, or you can just lay the coax down there, put the foam rubber on top of it, and close the window. That'll get you sealed from rain and the wind and heat and cold, that sort of thing. But yeah, and I should mention on the feed-through plates, I have seen some made out of plywood, and they don't do too bad of a job either, but the metal one gives you a good convenient grounding point as well. So, you know, they do sell them, well, MFJ used to sell them, and I know a number of other companies have them, and they can be a little pricey depending upon how many feed-through points you have. But you know, they are very easy to make. So kind of keep that in mind, and something like that will work out fine for you, but for a temporary, you can't beat the pool noodle or a piece of foam rubber. Back over to you, Kevin, KC6 USM.
Kilo Jupiter 4, Zulu Foxtrot Michael.
KD2 TFB.
All right, let's hold up there. Charles, thank you for your comment. Robert, KJ4ZFM, did you have a comment?
Yes, I did. I'm actually using, at the moment, a 2x4 with 6 holes drilled in it for the coaxes, and I filled those holes in with a little caulking. I actually used what they call flashing tape for the roof to see it, make it as airtight as possible. I have very, very little air leakage out of my bedroom. Just would like to let them know that was the way I done it, and it's been there, wow, almost 20 years. Kilo Jupiter 4, Zulu Foxtrot Michael.
All right, thank you for your comment, Robert. And Joe, KD2TFB, what say you?
Well, if you think about it, the people put air conditioners in their windows all the time, and all your home improvement stores sell strips of foam to shove in cracks so that with air conditioning, it's so it doesn't leak, but cold air and whatnot, but sounds like a perfect application for feeding through coax on a temporary basis. KD2TFB.
Okay, thanks for chiming in, Joe. Dan, hopefully some of that's helpful for you. W4FWN, KE7K.
Absolutely. Thank you all very much. I do appreciate it. I knew I could depend on the net. Somebody's done it somewhere along the way. And that's all I needed. Thank you very much. That's great ideas, all of them. So let me take all of them into consideration and what works the best for me. But thank you so much for the suggestions, and I wrote them all down, and should work. Thank you very much. Back to net control.
Well, very good, Dan. Always good to have a satisfied customer. Dave, N80AY. Sounds like you had a follow-up to a question last week, or maybe you figured something out. Go ahead, Dave.
First, to answer your question, I live in kind of sort of RF dark hole in an apartment where I can't do outside antennas, so the number one thing for me for the new radio is a HT that transmits 10 watts. And comment for Dan, there's Gigaparts and Amazon both have products called flat coax that looks like it'll work real well for going through a window or a door jam. My question, last week I asked about using power delivery specification USB chargers like we use for telephones and tablets and laptops with HP batteries that have a USB-C charging port. It doesn't work. The power delivery specification chargers requires a cable that has a chip in it, and the charger communicates with that chip in the cable and another chip in the device to negotiate the charging voltage. The HP batteries don't have that chip, so it won't work. It ain't OAY back to net control.
I will appreciate the update, Dave. Got you down for a 10-watt HT. Let me just make sure there's no comments about your follow-up comment. If you have a comment about Dave's battery issue from last week, please come down. All right, nothing heard. Again, Dave, thanks for coming back with a follow-up. Lots of times these questions kind of go into the ether, and we're never really sure if they get resolved or how they got resolved. So appreciate you closing the loop on that, and we'll talk to you next time. And the East Coast Reflector TechNet is again open for anybody with an amateur radio-related technical question.
N0 Mike Sierra Sierra.
Hey, good evening, Ross. You're always the one setting us straight. How can we help you this week?
Good evening, Kevin, and everybody on the net. My question is to anybody that has similar to, I have a 2019 Toyota Tacoma, and I'm trying to do HF in it, but I have a terrible lot of noise as soon as it starts. Doesn't seem to be the fuel pump, because I can push the button a couple times, energize the cab, and turn on the radio and whatever, but like on 20 and 40 meters, S9 noise level when it starts. If I'm pulling a hill or something, I definitely hear spark plug noise on top of that. So I'm wondering if anybody has a similar vehicle, probably a Toyota, maybe the Highlanders and whatever else 2019 might be similar, but has anybody had luck doing HF? I've got a roof mount antenna I've tried a fender mount antenna, or hood mount I guess, and I just mounted one way in the back by the tail light, mounted on the back of the box. So I wonder if anybody else has the same problem and has figured it out.
Comment.
All right, thanks for the question, Ross. Comment, please give us your call sign and then go ahead with your comment.
You'll be getting ready to call me here pretty soon anyway. I checked in by the text messages. KL4ACB at Inherited. Got a question for the gentleman. What all have you tried so far? What all have you done to mitigate that noise?
Well, so far I've tried antenna placement. Like I said, I have a roof mount antenna. I normally just use that on 10 meters with an NMO mount. On the hood, I've tried using my Hustler and ham sticks. It's one of those like a MFJ. It's got 4 set screws on the bottom, and you can turn it different directions with tighten up the angles. I've tried grounding the hood, bypassing the hinges. I've also run straps from there down to other ground points on the cab. I guess when I have a coax switch in line, if I flip it from the 20 meter antenna on the hood to the NMO mount and there's no antenna on it, it's nice and quiet. So it seems like the antenna is picking it up. As soon as I screw an antenna on, then it gets noisy. I guess I have not tried a noise filter. The radio ICOM 7000 has a noise blanker in it, and it does cut a lot back. There's also a YouTube video I watched on a 2019 Tacoma, and the guy even takes his radio outside and has a antenna beside the vehicle, nothing mounted in the vehicle, and it still has a lot of noise. So if you want to watch that YouTube video on that orange Toyota pickup, it's basically the same situation that I'm having.
To the frame, I don't know what this Tacoma is made of. Be sure you ground to some solid metal, and also you might think about changing your spark plug wires out to something that's a little more friendly for radio, maybe get some more expensive ones. The other thing would be to get some ferrite beads and load everything down with ferrite beads.
Break and forward engine.
All right, the braking station, do you have an emergency?
Ideas for you to look at.
All right, the braking station, give us your comment or your call sign and your comment. And if you don't mind, on the reflector, please don't use the pro word break. We assume that's an emergency. If you just want to make a comment, say comment or say your call sign. But refrain from using the pro word break if you could. Station in New Orleans, call sign and comment, please.
Zulu Golf and forward engine. Check to see any phone shortages. Check any phone shortages in the vehicle and connect them. Also, your phone shortages or any converters. 12 volts to 1 converters. And forward engine.
Thanks for that, Joe. Ross, any more information you want to give, or back to you, Ross. N0MSF KE7K.
Yep, so I do have a 12 volt to 110 converter that I run once in a while, but that doesn't seem to make a problem. I do have I think they call it the QI charger, where you lay your phone on this mat and it charges your phone, which doesn't work on my phone, but there's a button to turn it on and off, and I did notice when I had that on, there was a pulsing noise in my radio, and so I didn't do that. The fairy bead sounds good. Might try some of those. Incidentally, a friend of mine bought a Ford pickup V8 that had 16 spark plugs, and he replaced them because of the same situation and noise. And in his, he said, below the coil, there's an extension of about 6 inches before it touches the spark plug. It's a plastic tube, and the bottom has a rubber thing, and there's a spring and a little pill, almost looks like a fuse, and those were all corroded green on one end, and see, once he replaced those, he put some it's nice and quiet now, so that was one thing I was going to try as well. So, but it doesn't sound like anybody has a Toyota that has fixed the problem, so I'll try some of the other suggestions, and we'll go from there. And if I do find something out, I'll definitely let the reflector know. VHF, UHF radios, my first one was a Kenwood, and it had a slow scan. I bought a Yaesu, and the scan was 10 times faster. That was one of the things I like on a VHF, UHF radio is a fast scan. And I like an antenna tuner on my HF rigs. N0 MSS.
KC6 UFM.
I think I've got it here. There's a company called Bravo Hotel VHI. It makes noise reduction filters and that kind of thing. You might check them out. But yeah, the ferrite beads would be one of the first to do. And checking the spark plugs and the wires and changing anything else that needs it. Sometimes you can go to those. There's special wires you can get put on a vehicle. I'm not that familiar with all that, but I know that in the old CB days you could change them out and you could get rid of a lot of noise by getting good spark plug wires. But that would be the three things I've got plus that company, and that would be about all. KL4ACB, appreciate you letting me get in. I appreciate your comments, Terry. Charles, KC6 UFM.
Thank you, Kevin. Just wanted to add one thing. Ross, I suspect you're going to find when putting the ferrites in the power lines and that sort of thing, you're going to find a big difference there. But also, don't forget about the coax to the antenna. You mentioned that when you take the antenna off of the mount, the noise goes away. When you're buying ferrite beads, buy a few clip-ons to put on the antenna lead on the coax. You may be picking up noise from the antenna that is just being transmitted right straight into the radio and being picked up that way. But everything else, people have suggested you're not going to be able to do much with spark plug wires on that because it really doesn't have any. It's going to have coil packs and just a low voltage lead running to that coil pack. But as you mentioned, corrosion up inside those boots will give you grief, and I've had problems with the plugs themselves, but not on a Toyota. This was on a Nissan, and I found if I bit the bullet and went out and bought the really expensive tungsten type spark plug, it eliminated the noise problem. But instead of paying $4 a piece for plugs, I was paying $25 a piece. So it's a little pricey. But good luck with that, and I'd be anxious to hear how it turns out for you, Russ. Back over to you, Kevin, KC6 UFM.
N2ZVN with a comment.
Hey, Charles, thank you for your comment. Into ZVN, go ahead with your comment.
Yeah, there's some thoughts on the type of noise that you're actually getting. If it's a whine type noise, you'd be looking at a charging system type of noise, from the alternator. If it's a popping type noise, like a pulsating or a popping noise, like everyone's been leaning toward, it could be ignition. However, there's also a lot of solenoids that are operated and injectors. Injectors can cause a popping noise as well that could be confused with ignition noise. Depending on the type of noise, now if it's just like white noise you're getting and just a high S level, like S9 is just white noise that's blocking you out. There's many modules in that vehicle that they all have clock circuits built into them, and they talk to each other through CAN type data, and that can also as well cause noise as well. If it doesn't do it with the ignition in the on position without it running, then it's quite possible it could be, injector or ignition. If it does it with the ignition on, engine not running, then you might be looking at noise from a clock circuit within the modules in there. So that's about what I have to offer. N2ZVN, back to you, Kevin.
All right, thank you for those comments, Alan. Ross, do please let us know what you figure out. And I imagine if anybody's going to figure it out, you will. So good luck. This is KE7K, your net control station with the East Coast Reflector TechNet. We are still open for amateur radio related technical questions. Please come now.
And 8. ZLQ. Remember 8? What's that?
Good evening, Jim. N8ZLQ. Go ahead with your question.
Just trying to check in with the net, standing next to a water source, rivers up here in Monroe, and seeing whether or not into the Oregon repeater. Evidently I can, and hopefully it's clear enough to make sense. N8ZLQ.
Yeah, you're making the repeater, Jim. Maybe 10 or 15% noise. The TechNet is open for any amateur radio related technical questions. Please come now with your call sign. Final call for anybody with an amateur radio related technical question. Hey, nothing heard. That'll close out my portion of the net this evening. Roger, I believe, is going to do the first portion of general check-ins, which tonight starts with 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 0. Zeros were first last week and paying their dues this week down at the bottom. So thanks for letting me take part, and I will pass it to Roger, KO4QMM. This is KE7K.
Well, thank you for that, Kevin, and you did a fine job this evening, as always. This is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida. Welcome to the Tuesday Night TechNet, and our question of the evening is, what is a must-have feature when buying a radio? And I will be taking care of net controller for districts 2 through 6, as Kevin said, and Dick will take you out the exit door. And I have Vicky doing the logging. Thank you, Vicky, K8BKY. So on that note, anybody with a 2 in their call sign, come twice and slow.
2ZVN and 2ZVN.
N2BH, N2BH. Kilo 2 Delta Yankee, Victor Kilo 2 Delta Yankee. W2BLT, W2BLT. W2KJV, W2KJV.
All right, got a nice list there. I got some good numbers tonight. Let's start with the bottom up with Chuck, Lancaster, New York, W2EM. Tony, Homosassa, Florida, W2KJV. Robert, Kellyville, New South Wales, DK2DY. Bill, Palmyra, New York, N2BH. N2ZVN, Allen, Kendall, New York. Via text line, Andy, Andy, Cheektowaga, New York, W2AJR. Randy, West Seneca, New York, via text line, W2RBC. W2BLT, Scott from Buffalo, New York. KD2VNU, Derby, Dan, New York, via text line. WA2UUS, Joe, Buffalo, New York, and KD2JPP, Bob, Gallen, Tennessee. Good evening, Bob, and what's a must-have feature when buying a radio?
Of course they are, but it's what I look for is reviews on the radio. That's very important. I take them from anywhere, YouTube, other hams, and after that process, I'll feel confident in making a purchase. So that's an important feature to me, that the radio, after doing some research, have great reviews, and because as we know, the equipment is not cheap. So after that, we'll send it right back to net control. Roger, have a great night.
You do the same, Bob. Thank you very much for being with us tonight. Yeah, that's a good one. You know, that goes with a lot of stuff. You get all to watch the reviews, and it shows. I myself like a quality screen display. Good quality screen display as I get older. My eyes like to see it. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to Joel, Buffalo, New York, WA2UUS. Good evening, Joel.
In the years I was away from ham radio, the technology increased beyond my comprehension almost, but it's more fascinating to discover. So I guess I'm not in the market now. I would hope that it evolves to the point that you can get an HT with the ability to have basically what's an open spot with that universal to different modes in a way, and you don't have to go through getting all these hotspots and things. But I know that's probably in the future. I wish everyone be well and be safe, and thank you, Roger.
All right, thanks for joining us, Joel. You have a wonderful night. And via text line, Derby Dan, KD2VNU. Good evening, Dan.
Good evening, Roger. Good evening to everybody on that tonight. You said it, a good display, and if it's a HP, a decent battery. Everybody have a good evening. KD2VNU.
Agreed. Coming from a guy that knows a few things. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Let's move on to my buddy Scott, Buffalo, New York, W2BLT. You enjoying your night off there, Scott?
Sure, Roger. Good evening. What I considered when buying the last two radios is that they had a tuner inside of them. I do have an external tuner, but it's nice when you're going out and operating somewhere else, not to have to worry about lugging along a tuner with you. So, yeah, tuner. Have a good evening, Roger. It's W2BLT.
You have a good evening too, Scott. Thanks for joining us.
Let's move on to my buddy Randy, West Seneca, New York, via text line, W2RBC. What's a must-have feature when you're buying a radio, Randy?
Good evening, Roger, Vicki, and everyone on the TechNet. I think that the most important feature would be to have easily accessible front panel knobs and high-quality display. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2, RBC.
There's another guy that knows his radios. Thanks for joining us this evening, Randy. Let's move on to Andy, Cheektowaga, New York, via text line, W2AJR.
Hello, Roger. Hello, everybody on the net. It's got to have a waterfall. I've gotten spoiled. Every rig's got to have a waterfall. Thank you, Roger. 73, everybody. Have a great week.
Oh, I was waiting for that. I knew Dick would have to chime in. He calls it a fish finder. Gotta have a fish finder. Hey, I got 2 of them on my radio. I love it. Thanks for joining us, Andy. This is KO4QMM, Roger, in Central Florida. This is the Tuesday night TechNet night, and we're on the fun part with asking questions. What feature when buying a radio? Alan, Kendall, New York, you're up next. N2ZVN. Good evening, Alan.
Oh, good evening, Roger. Everyone on the net tonight. I'll tell you, I think, you know what? All the comments I've heard so far have been actually great, and they all things you look for, honestly. One thing that's very important to me, though, is ease of programming. Without a computer, I'd like to be able to take my handheld out in the field and easily program a frequency with offsets and PL tones and stuff it into memory without having to have a computer tagging along. And the same thing goes with an HF rig, same sort of deal. So, ease of programming, I would say. And 2ZVN. Back to that. Everyone have a good evening.
Definitely good features to have, Alan. Thanks for joining us this evening. Let's move on to my buddy Bill, Pop Mountain, New York, N2BH. Good night, Bill, or good evening, Bill.
Good evening, Roger, Vicki, everybody else. I agree with Alan. I like to keep that on my radio so I can program on the fly and not have to be tied to a computer. And you know, you take the radios with you, you go someplace else, and easy to program the repeaters stuff in. N2BH.
Yes, true, Bill. I don't think I'll be taking my big radio anywhere. Let's move on to Robert Kelly, Ville Ridge, New South Wales, VK2GY. Good evening, Robert.
Good evening to you. Good morning from you. This is Robert, VK2DY, where it's about 17 Celsius at the moment. And sun just went behind the clouds. Anyway, I do like the idea of built-in antenna tuner, but I also like them to be lightweight. You know, you put the batteries in, you know, and you can throw the thing in the backpack and do like soda or Poda or any of those. I just like it to be portable. VK2DY, back to net.
Thanks, Robert. And those are getting popular. I don't know about getting. They might have already been. I've only been doing this for about 5 years, but they seem to get more and more popular in some of those QRP rigs. Really neat. Don't take much to get out there, throw a wire in a tree, and get talking. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to Tony, Calvasassa, Florida, W2KJV. Good evening, Tony. What is a must-have feature when buying a radio?
Good evening, Roger. You're sounding good tonight. not in the market for a radio, but if I were, I'd want one that had good reliability and good receive audio and transmit audio also. Hope everyone has a great night. This is Tony, W2KJV. Back to you, Roger.
Thank you, Tony. And yeah, we have a pretty nice day here in Florida. A little bit of rain and a little bit of sunshine and a lot of heat. But we're used to that. Let's move on to Chuck, Lancaster, New York. W2EM, how you doing, my buddy?
Vicky and the rest of the group here. I think it would depend on what kind of a radio you're looking at, but as far as an HF radio goes, I'd say the receiver. You got to have a really good receiver. It would be number one for me. So back to that, W2EM.
Thanks, Chuck. Have a great evening. We'll catch you in the Zoom room sometime soon, I'm sure. All right, that's it for the twos. We're ready for the threes now. Anybody with a 3 in their call sign, come twice and slow.
Whiskey Baker 3, Golf Tango Mike. WB3GTM.
Whiskey 3, Bravo Radio Lima.
Uniform.
3, Bravo Radio Lima.
Roger, Brampton.
All right, from the bottom up there, we got Brady, New Kensington, PA, W3BRL. And we got Mike, Westford, Vermont, WB3GTM. And we got Jim via text line, Easton, PA, KD3ATQ. Was there another 3 in there? Come with your call sign.
Victor Echo 3, India, Quebec Uniform. B3IQ, Virgin Brampton.
I thought I heard a VE in there. Good evening, Reg, VE3IQU, Brampton, Ontario, Canada. All right, let's go to the top of the list via text line. Jim, Houston, PA, KD3ATQ. What is a must-have feature when buying a radio? Good evening, Jim.
Good evening, Roger, Vicky, and the group. Right now I'm looking at a radio with a tuner in it. I think that's the biggest feature I'm looking for. Back to you, Roger, KD3ATQ.
Yes, that is a nice feature to have. I agree. All right, thanks for joining us. Let's move on to Mike, Westford, Vermont, WB3GTM. Good evening, Mike.
Good evening, Roger. Good evening, everyone on the net tonight. This is Mike, WB3GTM. In regard, I guess it depends on what aspect of the hobby. There's a lot of different aspects of the hobby and might have different requirements, but keeping it to, like, say, the meter 440 type radios. With the latest radio size, I've been getting for quite a while. I guess my biggest desire is to have dual band, dual receive capability, and of course having digital mode capability is also a plus. Thanks for running the net. Thanks for checking me in. Back to net control, WB3GTM.
Thank you for joining us there, Mike. Appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful night. This is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida with the East Coast Reflector, Tuesday night TechNet, with the fun part asking questions. Move on to W3BRL, Brady, New Kensington, PA. Good evening, Brady.
Good Joe. Good evening to everyone on the net there. For me right now, I'd say the biggest feature in binary radio is its remote. How well can it be operated remote there? W3 BRL, back to net.
Oh yeah, that's a good feature there. Thanks for joining us there, Brady. Let's move on to Reg, Brampton, Ontario, Canada. VE3IQU. Good evening, Reg, and what's the most important feature when buying a radio to you?
Well, let's see. I would have to say high sensitivity and good audio combined. Those two things make listening to radio extremely pleasant. And those are the kind of things that, kind of the two things, or one thing that I enjoy about a radio, a good radio, is sensitivity and audio. They kind of go hand in hand. Anyhow, hope everybody out there is doing well tonight, and that includes you, Dick, if you're in the background, and we'll toss it back to you there, Roger, and I'm enjoying that tonight. V3IQU.
Well, thank you, Reg. We enjoy having you here, and I enjoy filling in for whoever needs it once in a while. No problem there. I always have a good time. Yeah, that's for sure. And that was another feature I enjoy on my radio is the record button. CQ on the record. Alright, we're moving on to the 4s. Enough of that. Anybody with a 4 in their call sign, come twice and slow. You know the routine.
Foxtrot 4, Alpha Charlie Bravo. Kilo Foxtrot 4, Alpha Charlie Bravo.
Kilo Romeo 4, Tango Lima Hotel. Kilo Romeo 4, Tango Lima Hotel.
W4FWN.
K4MMX. K4MMX.
Echo 2, Charlie, Kilo. In and out. Alright, nice list there. It's always fun to watch Vicky go through those call signs, and it's just fun to watch. Bottom up, David, Lawrenceville, Georgia, KD4CCK, K4MMX, Craig, Oakland Park, Florida, W4FWN, Dan, Sanford, Florida, N4RAG, Roger, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, KR4RLH or something like that, and KF4ACB, Terry, Harrogate, Tennessee, my buddy Joe, KO4FRR, Sorrento, Florida via text line, and Les, Claremont, Florida, KK4SED via text line. If you didn't hear your call sign, come back if you have a 4 in your call sign.
Kilo Romeo 4, Tango Lima Hotel. Tango Lima Hotel.
Alright, I knew there had to be another one. Alright, that KR4TLH, Tony in Chinquapin, North Carolina. Boy, I probably tore that one. Alright, let's move on to Les via text line, Claremont, Florida. KK4SED, What is a must-have feature when buying a radio, Les? Back to you.
Here in Claremont, Florida. I think, it's getting harder and harder to look at the radio, so I'm going to say the display. So, and by the way, send us some rain over here. KK4 SEE back to net.
Wish I could. Thanks for joining us, Les. Appreciate it. And I said the display too, so that's a good call. Let's move on to my buddy Joe in Sorrento, Florida. Good evening, Joe. KO4FRR.
Well, hello there, Roger. This is Joe, KO4FR. I would have to say what the features I want is a working radio, unless I buy it broke. Talk to you guys in the Zoom room, and I'll talk to you guys later.
I knew you were going to have something easy to say about it. Have a good night, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to Terry, Harrogate, Tennessee, KF4ACB. Good evening, Terry.
Good evening, everybody on the net. I must have wanted to be sure I got in tonight. I checked in on the text line and I checked in vocally as well. Sorry about that. But what do I like in a radio? Well, HT-wise, must have intuitive programming. I need to be able to program on the fly from the face of the radio. I don't care to program it on the computer. It doesn't bother me, but I'd much rather be able to program on the fly if I'm somewhere where I don't have my computer with me or whatever, so I can change it. But it's got to be intuitive. Good audio is the second thing. Good audio in and out. And not too small, not too large. Feels good in my hand. Over.
QSL, sounds like you got it all figured out there. You have a wonderful day, sir, and a wonderful evening, and a wonderful day tomorrow. Let's move on to Tony, and you can say how that Chinquapin, North Carolina, KR4TLH. Good evening, Tony.
Good evening, and once again, you have pronounced it correct. Chinquapin. Chinquapin, that is correct. And what I like in the radios would be a good receiver. I would like a good receiver. On the HTs, I'm like you, and my eyes are getting older. I would like a must is a screen, a large readable screen. KR4TLH, and we're turning it back to net control.
Yes, agreed. And I'd like the screen to stay lit a little bit longer. Sometimes you turn it on and all of a sudden it disappears and you're like, I can't see no buttons. I don't know where I'm at. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to my buddy Roger in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. N4RHE. This ought to be good. Good evening, Roger.
KO4QMM. Good evening, Roger. From the other Florida Roger, November 4, Romeo Hotel Echo. Likewise, my aging eyes prefer a large, clear, and bright Japanese display. Once again, I enjoyed the celebrity call sign. My lodge brother and Ham Elmer, W4ROA, silent key, while working for Motorola, built and delivered to NASA the first ham radio, and since then every astronaut is now also a licensed ham. November 4 Roger, ham enthusiast. Return to net.
Always appreciate the wise trivia you bring. It's always welcomed. You have a wonderful night there, Roger, and thanks for joining us as usual. W4FWN, Dan, Sanford, Florida. What's a must-have feature when you're buying a radio, Dan?
Well, good evening, Roger, and everyone else on the net, W4FWN. Well, some of them that I mentioned before was antenna tuner, but I also heard another suggestion. I do like knobs, and I do like the waterfalls. So I'll add that to what I already said, and back to net control. Thanks a lot, Roger.
Did you hear that, Dick? We got another one down for Fish Finder. Thanks for joining us, Dan. Appreciate it. And the last one on the 4 list is Craig, Oakland Park, Florida. K4MMX. Good evening, Craig.
Good evening, everyone. Well, what I demand on any radio is a very good receiver. Most of them today are, some of them are better than others. I missed the good old super heterodyne triple conversion ones. Still have a Kenwood HT that does that. Works great. But it's got to have an excellent DSP that doesn't have artifacting and crackling noises and descents. K4MMX back to Nick. You're doing a great job.
Thanks for the flowers, Craig, and I couldn't agree with you more. Have a good evening, and that's it for the 4s. This is KO4QMM, Roger in Central Florida with that East Coast Reflector Tuesday night TechNet. Anybody with a 5 in their call sign, go twice and slow.
Kilo 5 Alpha Lima. Kilo 5 Alpha Lima.
Kilowatt, Fox 5, Whiskey, Fox X-Ray. KF4, WFF.
Alright, Delta, pause for the call. The W5 starts from the bottom there, KF5WFX, Marcus, Amarillo, Texas. And we got KI5PMI via text line, Bill, Hobbs, New Mexico, and KL, Rocky, Fort Worth, Texas. And a new one just popped up, W5DBS, David, Houston, Texas. All right, let's go to the line. Rocky, it's all you. K5AL, what's the must-have feature when buying a radio?
All right, thank you, Net Control. Hello to everybody out there that can hear us. Must have. On a local radio, I would say memory. On HF, it'd be the waterfall. And I'm sticking to it. Back to Net Control, K5AL.
Well, I don't blame you for sticking with that one, Rocky. You have a good evening. Thanks for joining us. Via text line, KI5PMI. Good evening, Bill from Hobbs, New Mexico.
Good evening, Roger, and everybody on the net. Put me down for waterfall too, sir. Hope everybody has a great night. KI5PMI. Back to net.
Oh, love chasing waterfalls, especially around DX time. Thanks for joining us. Let's move on to KF5WX, Marcus, Amarillo, Texas. Good evening, Marcus, and what's a must-have feature when buying a radio for you?
KF5, WFX, sure. I would say power selection. Gotta be able to select that super low power selection there. Pretty important when running a hot spot. less than 1 watt on the power input. Camouflage it, yes,
All right, thanks for joining us, Marcus. We appreciate it. Have a great evening. Let's move on to David, Houston, Texas, W5TBS. Good evening, David.
Good evening, W5DBS. It happened to be the display. I can hardly see it all. The older I get. Do they make any rigs where you can hook a external monitor to them? I've got to buy something here. I'm operating my life on a Balphone handheld, and I'm a relatively new licensee, so I'm going to have to buy a rig, but the display is what I want.
Well, I don't know if you're talking HF, but mine, it's an Icon 7610, plugs right into a 32-inch screen. You can see everything then. You have a great day there, David, or a great evening again. I don't know what the heck it is, but it's night. All right, that's it for the 5s. We're going to move on to the 6s. This is KO4QMM, Roger, net controller. Anybody with a 6 in your call sign, come twice and slow.
Kilo Foxtrot 6, Hotel Delta Juliet. Kilo Foxtrot 6, Hotel Delta Juliet. Whiskey 6, Alpha Lima Bravo. Whiskey 6, Alpha Lima Bravo. Andrew, Tucson.
No wonder nobody mentioned the touch screen. Getting lazy in our old age. All right, let's go from the bottom up there. W6ALB, Andrew, Tucson, Arizona. KF6HDJ, Brent, Pensacola, Florida. K6AAN via text line. Mike, Valley Springs, California. And Charles, Cote, California. KC6UFM. Good evening. And what is your feature when buying a radio? Your favorite feature, must-have feature?
Good evening, Roger, and everyone on the net. Seems like I only get to talk to you about once a month or so, Roger, maybe only every 5 or 6 weeks, but good to chat with you tonight, and thank you to Vicki for doing an amazing job on the logging. I don't know how she pulls those calls out, but she does. And thank you to you and Dick coming up here soon, and Kevin a little earlier for herding cats tonight. That's always a lot of fun. As far as the thing that I have to have on radio, it depends on whether we're talking new, used, or HT. On new radios, I just want a good quality. On used radios, I want a good price, because I've actually seen about a dozen radios on QRZ lately that are priced higher than the same radio brand spanking new. And for HTs, the biggest feature I'm looking for on an HT is the one that stays in the store. I'm up to my eye teeth in HTs. I don't need any more. I don't want any more. And I don't even want them to give me one. So that's how it goes there. But here in beautiful downtown Guatai, the weather has been just absolutely phenomenal the past few days. Highs in the mid to upper 70s, and last night it got down to 44 degrees, so made for good sleeping weather, but otherwise not a doggone thing happening. Hopefully it stays that way with the wildfires. There have been a number of small ones breaking out, but the firefighters, bless their hearts, have jumped on those. And the last thing I want to throw out there is I'm just kind of curious now if Ozzy Osbourne is going to have an electric funeral. Back to you, Roger, KC6 UFM.
Whew. That's almost too much to take in there, Charles. I'm still getting over. Tell us how you feel about HTs. I always enjoy talking to you in the Zoom room about HF antennas too. Thanks for always being there, Charles. We appreciate it, and the group is all here smiling. Via text line, K6AAN, Mike, Valley Springs, California. What's a must-have feature when buying a radio, Mike?
Well, good evening, Roger, and everybody on the East Coast net. It's an HF radio, especially the most important thing for me is a receiver. If you can't hear them, you can't work them. That's just the way it is. For handhelds, though, I'm right there with Charles as far as the handheld disease. I really got to stay away from those things. But if they ever build a good Japanese radio that's DMR equipped, it's Fusion or D-Star, I would buy one. Fusion and D-Star are not popular up here. Very few repeaters, that sort of thing, but DMR really is. So, love to have a high quality DMR radio that's not Chinese. Anyway, all have a good night, and 7-3, this is K6AAN.
You have a good night too, Mike. Thanks for joining us. And we're moving on to Brent, Pensacola, Florida, KF6HDJ. Good evening, Brent. And what's the must-have feature when buying a radio for you?
Well, good evening, everyone on the TechNet. I would have to say the built-in sound card, because it opens so many new modes. SD8, SD4, just worked the North American QSO party ready, and used to have the modem and have to tune stations individually with just the little LED bars on the front, and just being able to open up the passband filter as wide as you can, and then click on the signal on the waterfall display on the screen makes contesting just a blast. Back to that control, KF6HDJ.
Sounds interesting. Thanks for joining us tonight, Brent. Let's move on to W6ALB, Andrew, Tucson, Arizona. Last one on my list. And what's a must-have feature when buying a radio for you, Andrew?
Well, good evening. This is Whiskey 6 off Lima Bravo Natural here in Tucson, Arizona, coming through RLP right now on a Yaesu handheld FT4X. I think that the most important for me would be if I'm going to be doing VHF or UHF, a good SWR meter. But if I was doing HF, I definitely would look into a power supply that supports the amps that would encompass it. And as far as HDs goes, oh man, make sure you get like 5 extra batteries. Back to that control. Thank you. W6 Italy.
QSL. Thanks, Andrew, for joining us this evening from Tucson, Arizona. And that's it for me. I made it all the way to the 6s. I appreciate everybody joining me this evening with the East Coast Reflector TechNet night. I'm going to hand it over to WB2JPQ, the godfather of the East Coast Reflector. Thanks for having me this evening. Sophie 70.
Well, thank you, Roger. Well, gee, thanks for saving a few for me tonight. You had the heavy districts. Good evening, everybody. This is Dick WB2JPQ on the Vicky K8VKY, and we're going to do 7 through 1 in the so stations with a 7 in your call sign. Please come twice and slowly. KK7OGC, KK7OGC.
Evening, Fred. Why don't you just hang on a minute? Let me see if anybody's home in number 8. Anybody with an 8 in their call sign tonight?
November 8, Quebec, Quebec. November 8, Quebec, Quebec.
Whiskey 8, Charlie Romeo Whiskey. Whiskey 8, Charlie Romeo Whiskey. W8, AWD, Whiskey 8, Alpha Whiskey Delta, in and out.
Whiskey 8, Zulu, Zulu Delta. Whiskey 8, Zulu, Zulu Delta. In and out.
Looks like Chris from Warren, Ohio is new to the system. Welcome, Chris. You're in and out, W8ZZ Delta. Thanks for joining us. You'll receive a welcome letter probably by morning. I see you have a current email address on QRZ. In Austin, W8AWD. Also via the text line tonight, we got CR from Unionville, Pennsylvania. N8QQ. Roy from Blaisdell, K8BYU. And Fred from Reno, KK7OGC. Good evening, Fred from Reno, and what is a must-have feature when buying a radio?
Good evening, Dick and Vicky and everyone on the net. Number one, the one that you have with you, an antenna to match the radio would probably be my answer to that question. A good antenna match for the radio. KK7OGC, back to you, Dick.
Fred's looking for the magic antenna. Don't we all? Wouldn't it be nice if we had one antenna that would give us good vis wire from DC to daylight? Wouldn't that be great? Work on that, will you there, Charles? On the antenna front, see what you can come up with. Thanks, Fred. Roy and Blaisdell, K8BYU via the text line.
Good evening, Dick. Everybody on the East Coast from here to TechFed, KA8BYU. Well, batteries that last a long time, plenty of accessories, extra battery packs, speaker mics, hopefully a AA or AAA battery pack that you can use alkaline throwaways in and that, or rechargeables. And just some of the things that I'd like to see that are good things. And also a decent price point.
All right, Roy. I just had said in the Zoom room, this is a good question. I think Vicky came up with this question yesterday. It's a great question for tonight. Brad, Cincinnati, Ohio, N8QQ. Good evening to you.
Well, good evening to you and everybody on the net. And I would say a must-have for me is maybe a little off the beaten path there. It has to have decent functionality. It's hard to find out if a rig ever does, really, but I just do a lot of scanning, a fair amount of listening across a number of hotspots and nodes and local frequencies, and I like the channel scanning to work fairly well. And it seems like it's always a bit of an afterthought on radios, which is understandable, but it's always kind of tough. And I guess if you get the manual, ahead of time, you can figure it out. But that would be my answer. I will just say good evening to you and everybody, and back to that, NHQQ.
Scanning, I might be the first one in the scanning category tonight, I'm not sure. Thanks, Brad. Thanks for being there. CJ, or CR rather, from Unionville, Pennsylvania. Haven't talked to you for a while, WHCRW.
Very good, Dick, and all on the net. Well, I'm a strange bird. I'm usually a VHF, UHF person, and I need a radio with received tone swell. The local repeater that I hang out on, sometimes when the band is open, we get hit from 3 or 4 different other repeaters normally out of our area. So I need a radio with, I can filter out those other guys. Back to that. Thanks a lot.
All right, CTCSS, I don't think there's any radio made anymore that doesn't have tone squelch on it. Years back, none of them, when they first started making the VHF version of any HTs or even any base stations, there was no tone boards in them, and if there were, they usually were only for one particular tone. Let's go down to number 9. We got to jump down to stations with a 9. Number 9 in your call sign. Call signs twice. Once again, this is Dick, WB2JPQ. Sure, Roger took everybody with him and went to bed. How about stations in Zero Land? Well, if you have a 0 in your call sign.
N0TIS, N0TIS.
KN0LZ, KN0LZ.
Going to ask Todd and Otis to hang on for just a minute, and I'm going to take stations in number 1. Stations in the first call district, or a 1 in your call sign, please. Yes, Roger took the 1s with him as well. Let's go to Otis, N0TIS. Nice to hear you tonight, Otis, and what is a must-have feature when you buy a radio?
Good evening, everyone. N0TIS. I don't have one, but if Santa Claus is going to bring me one, it is Christmas in July. You hear that, honey? It is. I would love to have a waterfall. I really would. Also, I've been hearing a lot of comments tonight about big buttons. Maybe we can get the jitterbug people to make a ham radio. What do you think? It's been a great day here in Southeast Texas. We're under a heat wave just like everybody else, and still got a chance to go out and tune some antennas today with my boy, and it sure was a lot of fun. N0TIS, back to you, Dick.
Sounds like you had a nice day. I had a nice day as well. We visited several repeater sites today and guess what did we say? We went 140 miles or 150, 60 miles, something like that. I forgot exactly what it was. So we did a little bit of running around, a little bit of playing, and we actually accomplished something. So that makes it even better. Thanks for being there, Otis. How about Todd? Good evening to you. KN0LZE.
Yeah, good evening. Pretty much kind of a timely question. I just went through kind of a new shopping for an HT, and among the things that was mandatory for that was the USB-C. And of course that's becoming a little more universal with a lot of electronics. And that was kind of a must when I ended up with the final selection, which was the UE5R Pro. It just has that USB-C and it's super handy.
Good point, Todd. I think you're the first tonight with a USB-C. Thank you for your comments. Alrighty, well that's the list. Let's see who we have on our late and missed. If you missed your call district, you want to get in and answer the question tonight, call signs twice, and slowly, this is Dick, WB2JPQ.
2 CJM, W2 CJM, in and out. Close 3, Tango Golf November, Vector Echo 3, Tango Golf November.
Kilowatt 5, Hotel Lima Hotel, K58. November 5, America, Quebec, Mike, N5AQM. No traffic, thanks.
Roger didn't even leave me money on the late and missed, Vicky. He took everybody with him tonight. We got Mike, N5AQM, Chandler, Arizona. Get with you guys in just a minute. N5HLN, Chris, WB8PLV. Our friend Tim from Windsor, Ontario. Tim, VE3TGN, one of the regulars on the morning brew. And Charles from Selden, New York, W2CJM. Is there anyone else that would like to get on the list tonight? Other than the people that I have just called, we'd like to draw the big line in the sand.
Kilowatt 5, Hotel Lima Hotel, K5H.
Yeah, we are. I think I acknowledged you before, K5HLH, Harry from Grants, New Mexico. Let's go up to Charles. Oh, we get 2 CJM. Oh, I'm sorry, Charles was in and out tonight.
Dick,
gotta look at my colors here. Too much being out in the sun today. How about you, Tim?
See clearly on the screen, and one with a little bit of weight in it, and I'm happy.
Sorry, I doubled with, who was that? I'm sorry.
The W2CJM.
Hey, Charles. Yeah, I saw that we had you marked in. We had you marked in and out, and time I saw it and stood by, you were talking. So, what was it? A display. Vicky's got it. Okay, thank you. Probably catch you in the morning. Tim, Windsor, Ontario, VE3TGN, another regular on the morning brew. Good evening, Tim.
There,
Bobby. I gotta make it short. The phone's ringing in there, and thank you for being there. CE3TDN Cliff.
And we'll put you down for knobs and switches. That's what I got. I like a lot of knobs and a lot of switches and even some relays clinking and clanging. Old school stuff. Hi, Chris. KB8PLZ. Good evening. Thank you for running the net tonight. Put me down for an antenna. A good hearing that my signal being weak tonight. Hopefully I have a good antenna in the mail. Everyone have a good week. KB8PLZ, back to net. Hey, we got you down for an antenna, Chris. Thanks for being here. And Mike from Chandler, Arizona was in and out 5AQM. Over here in Grants, New Mexico. He will be our last station here this evening. Well, we're getting out of here early tonight, Roger, or Vicky. Roger worked through his list so quickly. K5HLN. Good evening, Harry.
It's K5HLH, Kilowatt 5 Hotel Lima Hotel, Hard Luck Harry. As for the question, I don't know. It depends on whether it's a mobile base or an HT, but I like a dual band, analog, and the only digital stuff I've been sticking with lately is DMR. So other than that, HFs, I like the waterfalls, and the more bands, the better. 53s, thanks for running the net, K5H.
Well, that'll do it for us here tonight. Thanks to Roger, K04QMM, and Kevin, KE7K, and of course Miss Vicky, KE8BKY for logging. And this is Dick, WB2JPQ, and I'll see you on the open tomorrow morning at 7. Have a good night, everybody.
We will now connect to the East Coast Reflector, KE5FYL.
K4 MMX, KK7OGC. Craig, are you out there? K4 MMX, KK7OGC. Craig, are you out there? KK7OGC, clear. This is K7TE8. Can you tell me if I programmed this radio right?
K7TE8, I believe. TEA. Anyway, interesting call sign, KK70GC, Fred in Reno. You are now connected to the East Coast Reflector.
I'm Joe, name's Joe. I'm in Beaverton, Oregon. And that excites me. Thank you. How's the weather for east of Florida?
Negative. I'm in Reno, KK7OGC. I used to live in Corvallis, so I know your neck of the woods very well. Today was 82 and comfy.
Same here. It was around 80, 82 as well. That's really interesting. All right. How you like it in Reno?